Hey everyone, this is Grant with a quick preamble before the episode starts. This is specifically going to be on the YouTube version of the podcast only. Just wanted to give our viewers the heads up that we happen to lose most of the video from this episode due to a weird bug in the program that we use. I talked to the guy that made the program that we use to record video, and he looked into it, and there's basically nothing we can do to get any of it back. It just didn't save correctly. It's about an hour and a half long podcast, and about an hour's worth of footage vanished. This is very heartbreaking because we had a very good friend of the show, Garrett Hunter from Mega64, on this week. And in addition to doing video podcasts for over a year now, and wanting with the past couple weeks to reinvent the show a little more, we felt like this couldn't have happened at any worse of a time. So we're very sorry that you can't watch our heads move while we talk back and forth to each other. However, the audio we recorded from the episode is basically perfect. So we figured we would just throw up the episode without any video. It sucks and we apologize, but at least you get to hear it this week, and you're not going to go a week without your favorite podcast, Thought Cops, trademark, all right reserved. Anyway, so without further ado, here it is.
All right. I said I would do the intro. Oh God, I'm nervous now.
Not so easy.
Welcome to Thought Cops. I'm Officer Grant. With me is Officer Kevin.
Come on, Grant.
That's all. We got.
Come on, man.
We're revamping the whole show. We got rid of the whole format, and I just want a clean break. I just want a nice, clean break where you just do a normal. Just you say the show, you say your name, and then we're off. And look at how smoothly it's going so far.
Listen, you got to put a little more gusto on it. I'm not saying put as much gusto on as I did, but just put a little more.
This is it's a work in progress, and we'll figure it out. But I wanted to do a pathetic intro because I just felt like that's just how I felt, and I feel like how we all feel is how I feel like we should be putting that into the product that we do, is because people then it's more authentic.
Honesty, you're right.
Then people see that and they're like, gotta hand it to them.
They're gonna be like, that was so brave of Grant to do the intro so meekly.
I'm being vulnerable, This is who I am as a person, and people better get to like it. Speaking of likable people, we have Garrett Hunter back on the show today.
Hello. Hi, folks. Great to be here, and I'm so happy you put your heart on your sleeve, Grant. I think it takes a lot to be so vulnerable. And that quote from Nietzsche that you read earlier was like deep. Is that who? I think that's who it was.
Hurt people hurt people. That
Something
one?
like that.
Yeah.
It didn't have the energy that Grant used to come in with. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm already screwing names up.
Oh, crap.
That's fine.
But Kevin's energy was almost, I'm going to say unhinged, with the intro.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Right.
Season two, it's different, and I like that.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a clean break, from the past. Trying to do a whole reinvention. And I mean, speaking of reinventions, you've been on the show for a number of years so far, and we're coming up on almost 20 years of Mega64.
Can you believe it?
10 years of PPS at this point too, right?
Something crazy like, I know we're in 800 and 483 episodes. So however many, weekly times 52 divided by carry the 2, however that works, I think, somewhere around 10 years. And it's weird.
Second. I think we lost Grant.
Do we lose Grant? It was because of the math equation I gave was
his computer just fucking went crazy.
Dropped his abacus on the camera.
No, I'm back. I'm not stupid or anything, Kevin. But the question that I wanted to ask is after going for so long on these ventures, as some might call them, are there ever times where, obviously it's like we're sort of reinventing this show a little bit. We're taking the core elements, but trying to dress them up a little bit differently.
Yeah.
How do you bring that energy into something you've been doing for 10 or 20 years, to constantly keep it exciting, keep it fresh?
I think with like core Mega64 stuff, we try to focus on production quality and we'll try to kind of like raise our own bar. I know that's something I hear the guys talk about a lot is like, hey, we're going to spend extra time on the lighting in this video and it's going to be worth it because it's going to look so fucking good. And then like, man, we see sometimes like, holy shit, that pays off. Like this one effect, like that took way more time to set up, but pull off, like adds just this element to that kind of filmmaking is what I think we're like striving for with core Mega64 stuff. With the poorly played stream, like God, that format is just so the only constant is just me being distracted while trying to play a game. So that's always been pretty loose. But there's weeks where it's like, what I've gone through my game collection. I've played almost every fucking PS2 and PS3 game I have on the stream. I've played, so much. And sometimes like I want to go back to old stuff and I don't really, I don't find myself like ever playing the new hotness for viewers. Like I'm not doing Fall Guys or like Fortnite just because like those aren't my things. So it's never got like too much of a chore where if I think if I were trying to play those games and hit like the Twitch fucking algorithms, I feel like then, God, that would get daunting. But the way I'm doing it, like I can't really bitch. It's like I'm coming in here and playing Silent Hill 3. Like, yeah, that's a good time.
Well, and that's also like the poorly played stream is like three things in one. It's like a music show / a talk show / a video game stream. And I mean, are there ever times when you're doing it where you're like, I want to do a little more of the talk show aspect?
Oh, totally.
Let me dip into some of this music a little bit more. Let me screw around with that more.
It almost depends on how early I can get into this room to set up for the show. If I got a couple hours to set up, man, that's going to be a musical show because I'll start composing like new beats or new synth like loops on all the equipment behind me here on all the MIDI stuff. And I'll have time to kind of like, I like that. I'll save that. Okay, cool. Oh, and then I'll write in my head like, okay, and then I'll play this prank call over it. And, other times it's like, I'm getting off work. I'm running late. I'm running like right in here, 20 minutes to set up. Brian flies in, sound check. We're live. It's like, okay, I'm playing the game. I'm taking Discord calls. I don't even know what's happening. But that is kind of the fun of it being that kind of like, radio morning show kind of vibe or energy. It's interesting. My partner, Brian, who you guys have had on too. Yeah. He kind of vibes on the same thing, like with his Twitch stream, KLBR, because it's like request
That's
line
him and
radio.
Frank, right?
Well, Big Dogs is him and Frank. See, we're all like multi-fractured.
Oh,
now, so
wow. It's a freaking multiverse.
It is. Oh my God. Enough of the multiverse.
You guys have, do you have the rights to LeBron also in your multiverse? Does he pop in for a...
No, I think Super Mega has the rights to LeBron in this universe. We're trying to get. I'm asking. I'm trying to email Matt.
Do a big umbrella company.
Yeah, I'd like to get them all.
Yeah.
Hey, we got somebody in the chat. I just want to point this out real quick. Somebody in the chat. It looks like it's slimed at Garbage Man. Says Grant's hat low key kind of big. Anyone else noticing this?
This fucking guy.
No. This is a regular size hat.
I like this guy. I like this artist, Slime to Garbage Man.
Yeah.
I'd even consider him a friend of mine. How about that?
Oh.
But
I might do the same.
I'm going to do the two of you guys a favor, and I'm not going to be so hard to work with today on the podcast. I'm gonna, take it easy, go with the flow.
It's nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, that was a Halloween special, as we did say. It was sort of a.
I was scared.
Yeah, you're telling me. It's sort of spooktacular.
Terrified, even. Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as nobody gets possessed by fucking Beetlejuice or whatever the hell, I think we're gonna be okay.
Pumpkin juice, I think. He never named his OC, so I'm calling it pumpkin juice.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed by that. I kind of wanted the name for it. Oh well.
Yeah, well, he said something about Slime the Garbage Guy or something. He said it at the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, because we were like doing a very half-assed weak attempt at like Simpsons Treehouse of Horror names. And we're like, well,
Matt Hell Brooks. Yeah.
Something
days.
Crazy like that, basically. But speaking of crazy, speaking of Halloween, Garrett, you guys just did Mega64 Interactive Hell Festival. How the dare I say hell was that?
Oh my goodness!
Double
it was great.
Hockey sticks.
This was a real fun one. Adventure into all forms of entertainment as well. You had your musical elements in that show as we brought some kind of freestyle and some karaoke songs to life in certain segments. But I wrote and produced a segment that I had such a blast making called Howlin' Howard's Top 10 Most Brutal Kills. And I got to do this with Sean, who, Sean, very mild-mannered feller, Maybe he hasn't seen so many gore flicks, He's not attuned to the video nasties. So I found myself pulling from, like, DVD collection, because this shit's so old of mine, it's not even on Blu-ray. And I'm like, I haven't watched this in a good 10 years. I remember there's a good gross-ass scene in this one, and I'm pulling this, and I'm just giddy with excitement. And then I'm editing the clips together and everything. It was like the most fun I've had working on a project in so long. And I knew he was going to turn green. And he didn't really have to ham it up that bad. I mean, he said he almost vomited during one of the scenes.
Oh, man. Can you imagine how amazing that would have been if he did?
I think, a real method actor would have just let it fly.
I'm not a vomiter, but I definitely understand the discomfort towards a lot of like gore type stuff. I've never really been into a lot of that.
You know what? And him and Johnny both, they really opened my eyes, and I realized I'm fucked up and desensitized to this shit. Especially because like I was buying this on DVD and
Well, to be fair, Garrett, a lot of kids these days are all the same fucking way. They grow up on these beheading videos and this fucking
that was us. Kids nowadays, they grow up on JoJo Siwa or whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
We grew up with watching ISIS beheading videos.
We were on Ogre.
Gen Z can't claim
and we were better for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I turned out okay. And I had an extensive knowledge of, what would really freak out my friends. But they did shed some light on the fact that I am a little desensitized to it. Because I showed Sean a scene from Cannibal Holocaust of a man getting his penis cut off with a sharp stone. And it looks very real. But then I realized, like, it looked so real. Like, Sean now is convinced that was real. He saw a real dismemberment. And I think because he's brought it up, like, 4 times over the last, like, couple weeks, like, I think it's, like, always in his head now.
Oh, my God.
And that kind of makes me feel bad.
Then, you know what? Come on. It's a scary movie. He should know better. He works in video.
I told him it was
also,
fake.
Isn't Cannibal Holocaust one of those movies where, like, the police got involved and they're like, this isn't a snuff film, is it? And they were like, no.
They had to prove it, yeah. Yeah, right. It was one of those
like, gross out movies, like Serbian film and all these other ones.
Yeah,
people are like, you gotta watch this.
I have no aspiration to watch any of that type of shit. That just always like...
There was a lot of commenting that I should have shown Serbian film, but that's low-hanging fruit, guys. That's the obvious thing.
Right.
Too easy. And I'm not going to fuck Sean up. I mean, I think maybe I pushed him a little too hard.
Maybe not fuck him up that bad.
I don't want to fuck him up that bad. In fact, like I told him, I was like, yo, I'm showing you Cannibal Holocaust stuff. And he's like, that's the one with all the animal death in it. And I'm like, I'm not going to show you any of that because that is like brutal shit.
Yeah, it's a Jackal in the chat here brings up a good point. He says Sean was literally in a video called Genital Mutilation Prank.
That's all we did. We just showed that, like the 1970s
it's just a prank,
version,
bro.
It's just a prank. The Yanomami, they were playing a prank on the guy. Tie him up to the tree, get the stone out, you know.
Hilarious. Classic.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
There was another film. Oh, sorry. One quick last thing. Film called Aftermath about what happens to you after you go to the morgue and what the coroner may or may not do. The coroner just fucks this dead body like all throughout the movie.
Zwick, mark that for spoilers.
Yeah, sorry, but no, don't watch. No one watch this movie. I realized like as I'm editing, I'm like, Johnny, come in here. I'm like, check out. I'm going to show Sean this, or maybe this is too much. But then I'm just thinking, like, Johnny listens to heavy metal. You know, Johnny's fucking hanging out with us. Johnny can fucking watch.
Yeah.
You know, a little necrophilia. You know, and then like I look at him after I'm showing him my editing bay, and he's like turning white as a ghost, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, yeah, that's fucked up, bro. Like, I realize like he doesn't want to see this at work. Like, what am I doing? It's weird. It's an interesting job we have here.
Yeah, that's hey, not everybody can say that they get to see that kind of cool stuff at work. Huh?
Yeah, you're an HR hazard.
I feel bad. Yeah, luckily we're flying under that radar still.
Yeah, he's going to report you to Kevin or something.
Yeah, he's a reprimander.
Yeah, and how long have you guys been doing Hellfest? Was it because, if I remember correctly, was it starting because of like, you know, Andy, the whole, you know, as we like to call it on the show here, the plandemic.
Yeah.
We do call it that exclusively. I'll never forget the first time that I heard somebody like say that out loud, be like, you know, some people are calling it the plandemic. And I wanted to be like, what are you fucking stupid? Don't ever say that out loud around me ever again. Yeah, it was Kevin. I said that to Kevin.
Yeah. It's usually like an Uber driver pins you down and tells you about it.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Uber drivers, yeah, you know what? Either they don't say anything at all, or they just want to be like, let me just share with you the craziest political views you've ever fucking heard.
Mm-hmm. They're listening to like
the ride is 7 minutes.
Right. It's like when Elon Musk takes over Twitter and all of a sudden there's a spike of like 500% usage of the N-word. It's just that everybody on Uber has started using Twitter now. Like it's every Uber driver is like this.
They're tweeting and driving.
Yeah.
There's tons of accidents all over every city.
Right.
That's why we need those self-driving cars from Mr. Elon Musk.
You see, It's all his fault. Now he's got to solve this problem, but it's like a Ouroboros.
He made Twitter so much fun
into its own mouth.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to make the cars that drive us around so we can be on our phones tweeting mean shit at each other all day.
I did get the only good thing about this eventual buyout or whatever the fuck is happening with the website that I just used to promote when I'm going live on Twitch, essentially. Whatever happens, it was kind of funny for like that week to see just like a lot of fucking threats coming at the dude. Like it was crazy the jokes that were coming at him when he took over. I was like,
free speech.
Yeah.
It all counts now, yeah. Anyway, to bring us back on track, we were talking about Hellfest, right?
Oh yeah. You're gonna have to keep me on track today because it's been a long one.
This is the show it's actually we're all loosey goosey now.
I have to correct you, Grant. It is called Mega64's Interactive Hell Festival.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. That's where everyone's calling it Hellfest, and much to our chagrin, that's just how it's going to be.
Oh, it's just shorthand.
Yeah. But that was definitely because of the lockdown came and everything as far as like us going to Anime Expo or PAX East, like we did like 6 cons a year. All of those kind of stopped, and we thought, all right, well, let's do our own virtual con, and then it started with 64X, which was like, we'll come in on a Saturday. we'll do like a 6-hour day of streaming like we're at Comic-Con, because there is no Comic-Con this year, essentially. And that kind of replaced game days, and it replaced Anime Expo and Comic-Con. And then we thought like, well, let's not just do this one. Let's think of every quarter we can do another one. And like Hell Festival came out of, the Halloween season. I think we're going to expand even more. Like, Christmas Cast has always been kind of like a big event for us as well. But, I think a lot of ideas getting thrown around. Maybe we're going to try to expand that too, into more of a production. Cause that's what we're going for, is like, let's step up the production. Let's,
for sure.
Let's bring this full 6-hour day of Halloween programming.
Yeah, I know you mentioned game days, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, it's November, it's that time of the year, and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, is that going to happen anymore? Is game days, is that bye-bye?
I'm not the one to answer. I know we would love, like, I miss game days, especially day one. That was so fun.
Yeah, love it.
I really liked hanging out at the hotel and having like the little mini convention. And then having the special guests that came by and everything. Like, I mean, over the years, like Keith Apicary, DJ Doug Pound, and Neil Hamburger, and I mean, so many cool guests came by.
Yeah, I got to go a few times. It was like truly a blast. Like, it was one of the.
That was where I first met you.
Yeah.
I really do miss that day one. Day two was hanging out in Disneyland, and then we would kind of switch it up every other year, maybe, or something. It'd be like California Adventure or wherever. It's just so hard, I think, now, the way Disneyland works. I haven't been in a bit, but I think there's like a reservation system, or I don't know that just like 300 people can guaranteed descend on the park for like an event anymore. And that's kind of what it was. We just like took over.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it got to be like, I think in the last year it was maybe, or the year before, it was the biggest number. It was like 500 people or something. Like in the photo, you could count heads. And it's like, this is fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, like, I had fun at Disneyland. I'm not a big theme park guy anyway. I was there for like, to see you guys and see my friends I don't see very often out there. But it was like, day one was like, that was where it was at for me at least. And I feel like you guys, if you did something like that again, I'd surely, try my best to get out there. I know, Grant, you were supposed to come out with me last time, which was like 3 years ago. And you're like, I'll go next year.
That was when I was like, the next year's the year. It's going to happen. I'm going. And then the world shut down.
Ugh.
And, but you guys don't want to be going to Disneyland anyways. It's all political now.
Yeah, well, they're woke. I heard.
I just this past summer I went to Disney World with some of my family, and my mom was like, it wasn't as political as I thought it would be. It's like they're fucking mice walking around. What did you think that it would be?
You know what you guys gotta do, Garrett?
Woke.
You guys gotta, wait around until I don't know when the American one opens, but Super Nintendo World, whatever they're calling the American one, that's got to be where it happens. Or you know what? Let's all just go to Osaka, because Japan's open now. We can do it.
That's right. Yeah,
let's go.
It's probably cheaper to get there for the Australian and English guests. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it will in some way have to come back at some point, but I just don't know that if we're there yet. But I'm almost like, let's change the theme park. Like, we've done Disneyland.
Right.
Let's do some other smaller theme park. That's my dream, is like we work with the staff and the management, and we get the hall inside the theme park, and we have day one inside that hall, inside a smaller spot or something. I don't know.
Rent out Cedar Rapids or some fucking place in the Midwest.
Can we do it in San Diego too, so I don't have to drive to Los Angeles?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I'm down for it.
I'm a hater. Well, it's not. It's Anaheim, but Anaheim's not as bad.
No, I just because I was honestly forgetting like when it was, and even like today I'm like, oh yeah, game days usually is this time of the year, and I googled like game days and I couldn't find an answer because I haven't heard anybody talk about it, hadn't seen anything about it saying it wasn't happening, it was happening. So I was like, are you guys just maybe want to stick to the digital stuff for now, because that is fun and it's a lot cheaper than a plane ticket. So
it's, as far as I know, like that's definitely what is going on now is like, yeah, we're trying to focus on the digital stuff. But
Yeah.
I would love just as much as everyone, I think, to get game days up again. And yeah, I'll put that 2 cents in on my next little meeting with the boys.
Well, you know what you could do? Like I said, Osaka, Super Nintendo World. You guys are buddies with Hideki Kamiya? Doesn't he live out in Osaka?
Oh, yeah.
Get him as a guest to.
Oh my God, that's the real deal. Is like when we start getting Japanese developers to come to game days. Now we've made it.
Yeah.
I think Kamiya would do it. He was so cool, man. He worked with us on the video where all the boys went out to Japan and filmed it with him. Then that next like month or so was PAX East, and he came out and like was on our panel with us as like we showed that video because I think we were premiering it there or something, or it had just come out, and he was so cool to come into our like, hey, hide in this fucking hallway, and then we're gonna play this video, and then you come in, we're gonna have a fight, and I remember he was intimidating through those like glasses. You know, we like the yellow shades, but he was staring me down through those glasses, and he had his fists up, and I was like, this guy could take me. But such a cool dude to work with. Like specifically, like over the last few years, Kamiya's been awesome. And Bayonetta 3 just came out.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Bayonetta 3 just came out. Hideki has been resolved of any wrongdoing because we covered that. We covered it. Oh, is that Siri?
Sorry, Siri is like
Siri wanted to chime in on the Bayonetta drama.
Yeah, ask her how she feels about the Helena Taylor situation.
Yeah. Well, as a voice actress herself, Siri, she's probably siding with Helena. So I think she's donating to some conversion therapy charities right now. Siri, knock that off.
Yeah.
Dude, get out of my PayPal, bitch. Come on. That story got weird.
All your info.
You gotta love a story like that where it's just like every day was a different twist and turn. You're like, huh, okay.
I found myself typically, because I'm of the ilk that thinks like, yo, play video games, don't fucking write about them or talk about them on the internet. Like, just enjoy it.
Exactly.
But I did find myself a little like, hey, what's coming into work? Like, hey, what's the latest development, boys? And they'd be like, yo, get this. So Kamiya tweeted out, don't believe the lies. The liars out there, the truth will be revealed. And I'm like, this is like, I don't know. This is like conspiracy level deep web, about a video game. This is fucking Gamergate 2.0 right now. Here we are.
This is Joe Rogan needs to get to the bottom of this. If anybody needs to get to the bottom of it, Joe Rogan needs. Hey, did you hear about
how long until
drama?
How long until Kamiya goes on Joe Rogan? I wonder.
Oh shit.
He's had lesser known people on there. Did he have sure?
I'm remembering Cliff Bleszinski in the early days, like back in the Brian Red Band days, like before the new studio or even the like move out of his house.
He's been doing it for so fucking long. I mean, I've seen people I'm like, that guy was on Joe Rogan, and I'm like, oh, it was from like 14 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. Every once in a while, like I'll be scrolling through YouTube and YouTube will be suggesting me like the Sargon of Akkad on Joe Rogan episode. And I'm just like, is this even real? Did this happen? And of course it is real. And it did happen.
He talked to anyone and everyone. It's weird because it's like, it's that guilty, like you're ashamed to admit you ever listened to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh, yeah.
But I listened for fucking so long. Like I started when he had like, Cliffy B on, and I would be like, why the fuck is Joe Rogan and Brian Red Band? Because I was a fan of this whole podcast network called Death Squad.
Yeah.
That Red Band ran all these comedians and put mics in front of, Brody Stevens and Little Esther, and they had a show. And then like, that's where I first heard like Tom Segura or Ari Shaffir or any of these people. And I like fell in love with that whole like cloud of stuff. And it was like, okay, Joe Rogan kind of like runs this gig. And then like, it was finally, I think I tapped out a month or so pre move to, what was it, Spotify?
Yeah. Once it started going to Spotify, I was just like, whatever. But even before then, it was like, I would just catch episodes that would be interesting. Like, I'm a really big fan of like
Mike
Duncan
Tyson.
Trussell. Yeah. I mean,
Duncan's episodes were always great.
Yeah, they were always great. Yeah.
For us to even be like, yo, remember how good those old JRE episodes with like Duncan Trussell and, remember how funny those were? And it's like, oh, you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience? Okay. And it's like, like 10 years ago, it was like a different thing. It wasn't.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
I mean, the homie's getting paid, but it's not cool anymore. He got too big. It's not cool anymore. It's always what happens. I'm worried about that with you guys. You got to stay where you are.
Hey, Garrett, no problem. No problem.
We haven't grown our audience ever. It's always just been Zwick is the only person that listens.
That's why you're fucking the bee's knees, which is the most uncool thing I can think of to say.
We're basically like the punk rock band equivalent of podcasting. Truly, we have a small, loyal audience.
That's true.
People look up to us. They steal our organizational skills. They get bigger than us.
Yeah,
we're highly influential.
By that I mean using a Google Doc.
Nobody ever highly influential among the micro podcasting realm in terms of our organizational skills. Everybody's stealing our Google Doc.
Hey, nobody ever thought about the doc before. They just went, right in.
They just wrote on a fucking notepad. Like, what do I talk about this episode? It's just like, put it on there and then just hit the share button. Give it to your guests. Now they know what they're going to talk about. Like
the number of people who have come on this show and like looked at the Google Doc and been like, whoa, awesome.
It's very cool. You were the first that I ever saw do it.
Really? Okay,
yeah, the fact that you can both remotely update it, it's a very innovative podcasting tool to have that on a second screen for your guest because they're not like anxious about what to do.
That is true. Right, that is true. And then even like you said, remotely,
from a guest perspective.
I got it on my phone, and like if I ever think of a 2 minutes of hate or something that mildly irritates me, I'm opening up Google Docs on my phone, putting it in there. I'm like, I'm not going to forget this. I'm going to toss it in there.
My boomer ass is writing on fucking Post-it notes here, so.
Hey, that's good.
I mean, I do that.
Too.
I do that here and there, but it's going in the doc at some point.
This is thrilling conversation right now.
Organization. That's what happens.
What the fuck am I doing here, man? I'm like, we're like getting away from the fucking format just to talk about the format.
This is good though. This is very Seinfeld, Like this is
nothing like Seinfeld.
This is exactly
Seinfeld
like
wasn't talking about Google Docs or anything like that.
Exist yet. But if they did
Grant,
exist,
be fucking hilarious, Grant.
Yeah.
If Seinfeld existed in the current day, and what if there was a Twitter account that like posted prompts of what that would be like? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
My two favorite characters, Gurge and Jerry.
I don't know, Grant. I'm not sure if you know why that's funny. I don't know if you know why that's funny because they spell it wrong. It's different.
Yeah, Gurge.
We're so accustomed, we're so trained like sheep to know Jerry and George, but when they say it differently, something shoots off in our brain and we think that's funny. That's groundbreaking.
Take the convention, flip it on its head.
But Garrett, I also want to talk to you about, we talked a little before the recording about how people are pivoting to music these days. It seems like that's just the move. Yeah. And you've been doing some music. You've been collaborating with friends of the show, like we mentioned from last week, Slime to Garbage Man, Alex Schultz from
hard to work
Productions.
Easy to work with. Great guy. No, Slime was not hard to work with. Everyone, it seems now who we're all following the Joji train. We see the path in front of us. Filthy Frank transformed himself into the entity known as Joji. And I think that's kind of like what we're all out there trying to aspire to.
I'm trying to do the opposite. I started off in music and was like, no, thank you. I'm not getting what I want out of this.
Dude, you can get morph suits on Amazon, like $17. You're going to devolve into the Filthy Grant.
Fine. Thank you. I'm glad you put it in those terms so I have something to aspire to now.
Yeah, Zwick just DM'd us and said that's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure Grant Mooney started the podcast to get away from music, but it's a private DM.
Zwick, why'd you DM that?
It's private, like music is. It's private. It's personal. You have to, like Grant, you have to put your heart on your sleeve, and you have to throw it out into the world and go, God, what does my voice sound like?
You know where I got that from is you remember the Zero shirt that Billy Corgan used to wear?
Yes.
Well, on the
classic.
side, he had a little heart shaped Smashing Pumpkins logo right on his sleeve. He was literally wearing his heart on his sleeve.
And that's why he's the smartest man ever.
You can connect with those lyrics, yes.
Have you heard him talk about the harp system on the Joe Rogan podcast?
I did. I also heard him talk about seeing a shapeshifter on the Howard Stern show once. I think he's into wrestling, so he might have been hitting the head a few too many times or something, but he's got some ideas.
I know he's talked about that he thinks that he has like lead poisoning from growing up in the 70s or whatever, and I believe him.
But it's just him, though. Everybody else who grew up in the 70s, they're fine.
Or like, I don't know.
That's why my dad's that way. Yeah, what a rough time the 70s must have been. We got it easy now. Sitting in AC, we got RGB lighting all in our rooms. It's beautiful.
No heavy metals. No asbestos.
No, we filter our water. Our pineal is purified. Another Joe Rogan thing, he always talked about the fucking pineal gland and the goddamn DMT. What the fuck is that shit?
I have no idea, but that's like everybody's go-to like Joe Rogan joke. Like,
I swear to God, that's what made him. That's what made him the most fans of like, internet Silk Road. Like, I don't know.
I think it was that he was a very influential figure within like certain spheres of the internet that didn't always sort of like cross each other's paths sort of a little bit, because it's like you get the meatheads and you get the druggies and you get some of like the pseudo political intellectual type people and stuff like that, and this like big intersection of all these subgroups, which I think for a time it was interesting, because again you can go back to some of those older episodes and it's like, oh, he has this person on, and then who's this person, and then this, like, oh, holy shit, who's Wim Hof, who's Duncan Trussell, who are these people and shit, and then then
he's gonna he'll go down. Well, we'll see how they restructure the history books, but he'll go down in some form, hopefully, in the history books as being like this odd countercultural icon of the internet in the 2010s, to 20 era. It's just weird to think about the guy from News Radio who tells dick jokes.
Yeah, or the Fear Factor.
Yeah, I was just like. I was reading, don't ask why, I was reading the Wikipedia entry for Phil Hartman today. And I was like going through, and apparently, like, because I know he was on Joe Rogan and Phil Hartman were both on News Radio, and apparently they were like super good friends offset.
Very good friends.
Which is weird to think about.
I think News Radio might be one of my favorite, I guess it's a sitcom, That show is like top tier, like I absolutely love that show. And he has evolved in such a weird way from that into what he is now. It's like odd that I followed this dude's whole career. I mean, I didn't watch Fear Factor. I don't think I had cable in those years, but it's
News Radio
strange.
That was pre-Fear Factor, right?
Yeah,
95.
I mean, he had hair in that.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
Fear Factor was on like NBC.
Okay,
I want to say,
I'm just thinking about like how I even got interested in like exercising or like maintaining just a modicum level of muscle tone and lifting kettlebells. It was all that fucking Joe Rogan influence from listening to that show for 10 years back in the day.
And you were telling us before we started about you're getting into some pro wrestling stuff and also trying to put some mass on.
That's my latest. Can we get toxically masculine here for a second?
Yeah.
Is everyone? Absolutely. Are you guys comfortable?
Well, what else are podcasts for?
I'm gonna take this stupid fucking hat off.
Wow, is it warm?
It's pretty warm. No, I just mean because a hat for babies. Yeah. I need to show my receding hairline.
Speaking of, I've been a lot of testosterone, and it's going to be pulling back soon. No, I haven't started HR
Hormone replacement therapy, HRT.
No,
yeah,
that. Rogan told me to get on that, but I'm not listening. But I am. I don't know what if I guess you could consider it midlife crisis has come over me, but I'm like, yeah, I should start training in pro wrestling at 40. That's a good idea. I should start, tumbling and diving off the middle ropes, and just let me learn how to take bumps for 2 hours once a week. So that's one of my latest little adventures. I think I got the bug when we filmed some stuff for our last 64X, and I got to take a little bump. There was an anime panel that got double booked with a women's wrestling exhibition, and there unfortunately there was a little accident towards the end. But we did this great bit, and I got to be involved, and then I started talking to some of my friends that helped us with the thing, are wrestlers from a local promotion here in San Diego. One that Derek's worked with, and Eric Badur, who we were talking about earlier, worked with them too, called Super Awesome Showdown. And then I just asked them, I was like, yo, you guys like train regularly, and could I come by? And they were like, yeah, the more the merrier. And now I got like 2 awesome wrestling coaches, and then I get to wrestle like once a week for a couple hours in a backyard. There's like chickens roaming around like the outskirts, and I'm learning like luchador moves. It's very authentic. But I'm having a fucking
that feels
blast.
extremely appropriate.
Yeah, I was going to say
really
that.
is.
I feel like I can see you do that in my mind's eye. I'm like, yeah, that 100% tracks. That fits.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah,
right.
I might just be thinking of Nacho Libre though. I'm not sure.
It's close. It's that's all you need. It's essentially that. I'm still very like, getting used to what this is even gonna like turn into. So I don't even know essentially why I'm doing this. I think the intention was like, I could learn a couple cool moves, and then like if we need to do any stunts or stuff for Mega64, like I could do that. Like I don't think the intention was like, I'm gonna join the indies and start a character and wrestling for real. But I don't know. I'm very interested, and it's been like 3 months now. Much to the point of what Grant said though, like putting on mass, that has like snowballed into like, okay, so I'm going to start wrestling, and I should probably pad out my body if I'm going to be beating it up this badly. Let me start working out. Okay, I'm going to start. Let me get a personal trainer. Let me get 160 grams of protein in me every day. And now I'm like, I'm this machine. I'm a machine, Grant.
That's fantastic.
I'm trying.
That's also I was gonna say that's good for like your like bone density and shit like that too, because I'm assuming with wrestling and shit like that, you're taking hits left and right, and it's like you don't want to crack a rib, you don't want to pull a tendon or anything like that. And some of the best benefit from weightlifting in and of itself is like building up those structures a little more. It's not all about turning into a beefcake. Sometimes it's just bulletproofing your body.
And that was definitely my goal. So my cousin's been training me, and he's got me eating my fucking body weight, the pounds converted to grams, and that's how much protein I need a day, which is not fucking like enjoyable at this point. After doing this for like probably 3 months of this, I'm looking at food in a totally different way. Yeah, and I'm developing an unhealthy relationship with it.
That's so many people in like the fitness sphere in general. Like,
really,
I feel like getting into lifting is like purposefully giving yourself an eating disorder, and I'm only partially kidding about that. There is a lot of bad habits with that shit.
Yeah, I'm on this path to just like, let me see what happens, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm having this like, but my fucking day is crushed by like workouts and cooking now, and fucking, oh my God, the amount of money I'm spending on food is like stupid. Cause I'm a fairly thin guy, and now I'm like doubling my intake, almost tripling, I would say. I run on coffee typically, but not anymore. But I feel good, and hopefully this kind of goes with the wrestling, and then guys, in a year I'll be you'll see me on the big screen. I might have an AEW dark match by fucking 2024. How about that?
Wait, Garrett, you said you cut out coffee?
No, I fucking exist on coffee, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you were like done with it.
No, but I'm once my eyes were opened on okay, really try to eat clean, and I got to eat all this protein. I've cut out sugar and everything. I'm trying to do that for real. And it's almost easier because I've got this goal of okay, I'm going to learn to wrestle and I'm going to look like a wrestler in a couple years. We'll see.
I've been struggling with because we were talking I work in an office again, and it's just my whole routine has been disrupted, and I don't have as much time to get to the gym and stuff anymore. And I'm I can't if I'm on the same diet, because I used to go I used to walk 3, 4, 5 miles a day just on my whatever free time, and I don't have as much of that anymore. So I'm having to log a lot of getting back into keeping track of what I'm eating more, and seeing my fitness pal kind of stuff. And it's just because when your lifestyle changes and your diet stays the same, you'd be surprised, how quick it catches up with you.
Right.
I'm finding that I have to stay up. I have to force myself you have to stay up an extra 2 hours to get all the shit done. And sometimes that's go lift weights and get bit by bugs in the backyard at 10:40 at night. And then I'm out there like a maniac listening to, your podcast and
thank you.
Fucking screaming into the night.
Well, and it's interesting that you talk about getting into wrestling, just not even knowing what to do with it, because I'm reminded of this book that I started reading a long time ago. I read it a long time ago by a man named Miyamoto Musashi, called The Book of Five Rings. I heard about it, I think, on
Jamie, pull that up.
The little podcast called the Joe Rogan Podcast. And
this episode is quickly turning into that. Think about it. We're talking about working out. We started talking about Joe Rogan, ironically,
guys,
and then we're talking about regimens and stuff. We're talking about Miyamoto.
It all devolves back to the source, which is the Joe Rogan Experience. Ooh.
Anderson Silva or that fucking blonde YouTuber kid? Who you guys got money on? It's going to be a good match. Is it not?
But in the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi by Joe Rogan, he talks about the spirit of being, or there's a certain term for it, and the cultivation of the spirit, and how if you want to get better at sword fighting, you don't just sword fight.
Yes.
You paint and you play guitar and you cook and you live life.
The balance.
And that cultivates that cultivates your ability to become a better sword fighter. And you feel you take that professional wrestling and you go, now that I'm a better professional wrestler, or amateur wrestler, I don't know the terminology, but now that I'm a better wrestler, I can take this in. Yeah, well.
But I am not pro.
One day.
Yeah,
Grant, that's a good point, though, because I feel I see a lot of that happen, or that kind of discourse come up in the stand-up scene. I haven't done much stand-up in a little while, but there is a mix of you have to live to come up with experiences and form them into jokes. But it's a lot of these people are grinding every night, doing multiple nights or multiple mics a night, and it's you're not, it's such an in circle, and people are not living life and stuff like that. And I think that's just, it's tough because you got to grind to get better, but then you got to live, and then you forget how to do one, and you do too much of the other. I mean,
no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You almost need to take time off too sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then come back to it, and it's almost relearning stuff it strengthens it twofold.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, to be honest, there's even times with doing this show where it's we don't take too many breaks, and I'm should we take a breather for a little bit or what? But it's then I don't want to fall behind, and people want to have regular uploads, and then it's in today's internet age, it's if you disappear for a couple weeks, it's who are you?
Yeah,
people forget about.
I mean, people still say that, but
that's true.
Yeah.
But imagine
if you don't tweet once a day, are you even alive?
I mean, that's like, fuck. I know I've talked about this on the show before too, and I know Garrett, you talked about it a little bit, where it's just like Twitter is just sort of a promotion thing. Here's here's a Thought Cops episode. Here's a hard drive article. I'm trying to post a little bit more on there now, just like if I think of some funny thought, because I do miss like that aspect of it, and like just kind of interacting with the people I know on there, and it's just not doing it kind of feels lame, but then doing it feels like a chore a little bit.
Yeah. I like to just peruse, friends releasing new music or art and throw a couple of likes around. But it's like my day, with all these new fucking hobbies that I'm picking up, and my day is so packed. I'm like, thankfully, kind of not on my phone, like just endlessly scrolling. And
that's a good position to be in.
I'm still afraid to install TikTok, like just because I know that'll suck me down. That's not the right terminology, but it'll suck me off like a virus.
Yeah, right.
But it even like I have to use Instagram and Twitter because that's how I put out my stuff, and I enjoy those platforms. But man, I am like not scrolling anymore, which is nice, having that little break. But I'm sure I'll get back into it. I'll find another way because everything right now with my schedule is so new. Like it'll settle.
I do feel like settle. The past couple days of Twitter have been some of maybe the funniest in a while, and I do think that there's like a lot of weird avenues that can go down because I do realize that we're on the precipice of like a fascist takeover of the United States, and like anti-Semitism and racism are all on the rise and stuff like that, and I think that all that's bad. However, Twitter has been. Twitter has been a little more fun to be on recently because you can just send a death threat to Elon Musk and you're just like, hey, free speech.
People in my close friends group are doing it and I'm just going, with no consequences? This is fucking wild.
It is.
Good for you.
It's insane. It is insane.
I think
just
also,
DM them. I'm like, I see you. I'm not liking it, but I see you. They got their eyes on me. I can't like that.
Right.
I still got him blocked. I'm not going to change that. But no, I think like the whole Elon Musk changing how Twitter works now, I think a lot of people are realizing like, you know what? Fuck this. Because now he's doing that thing where you have to pay for like a verification, like a blue check mark now. And I think that I don't know if it's like it's unclear if that means anybody can do it or you have to be verified and then also you have to continue to pay for it.
Yeah, how's that work?
I mean, that probably sucks for like a lot. I mean, even for like you guys over at Mega64, it's like there was like some sort of like, as lame as it sounds, a pedigree to having that thing next to your name because it was like, this is something.
If you're like a business like we are, it's good to have that.
Yeah.
And I think there's no problem coming up with, what is it, $20 a month or whatever for our small business.
It's like
for our small business to cover.
Basically, Stephen King talked him down. Apparently, is how it went.
Really?
Stephen King said, "I'm not paying $20," and Elon was like, "How about $8?" And now he's just tweeting at like different celebrities and political figures. Like he told AOC like, "Okay, now time to pay up," and it's like, dude, this is like panhandling. Aren't you a billionaire? Do you need to panhandle? Do you need to be begging for money?
He's poking the hornet's nest. You know what I mean? Like he loves this fucking attention, and here we are talking about him. But he gave me Starlink internet, so I can't complain. I can't complain about my internet at home finally, but I will complain. Like, yeah, it is weird now. I think like I never had the blue check mark. I feel like I could get it if I pursued it, but there is something in me that is like, I don't want it. I never want the fucking... It was such a fucking elitist thing to get for so many years that I look at it now with eyes of disdain. Like, I don't want that fucking blue check mark.
And now it means nothing. It means like nothing.
And now I just sit and smile and go, I win, because it does mean nothing. And that's the like... Schadenfreude in me that is so giddy with like, oh, dude, it sucks because like a lot of my friends got the blue check mark. Sucks, they're gonna have to pay for it, but it's on them.
I think they don't have to pay for it. It just goes away.
True.
Yeah.
Let's just bring everyone down to the same playing field.
Yeah.
It's
Except
Karl
for
Marx's
Clorox, Cox Cable,
Karl Marx's wet dream. Yeah, all those companies.
Disney.
You know, one of my solutions for that has been I've just been blocking the brands on Twitter that like come, which I should have did this a long time ago, but instead of hitting like I don't want to see this ad, if an ad pops up and it's like Disney Plus, I just block Disney Plus. I don't want to see any more brands at all on my Twitter page at all whatsoever.
That's a great idea.
For forever. I highly suggest everybody else do it because like I don't want to see Wendy's.
They're just advertising.
Clackback at fucking Burger King. Just block them. Block all of them. Every single corporation. Nobody wants to see them. Block them all.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Follow at Mega64 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow everybody.
The good corporations, of course.
Unfollow Clorox.
Yeah.
Unfollow
there's like
Clorox,
7 of us.
Give Mega64 a follow.
Sure. Yeah.
But I want to say, speaking of Twitter, speaking of gaming, there is a Twitter account. I feel like everybody seemed to follow him for like news and stuff on gaming. Nibalian. I don't know how to pronounce
no idea
it.
who that is.
I can picture his avatar. Little
It's the little
guy.
mob psycho. With the yellow behind it. Yeah. And that was
Totally.
like one of those things where if any time there was a gaming a press event or a Nintendo Direct or anything like that, my move was like, I'm just going to go check his Twitter account, because he was always on it.
Man on the street.
Him and Wario64. It was like, I'm not going to go to IGN to read something because like, why? Like, I'm just going to go on my timeline. He posts the images. He just has a quick little blurb about it. And I feel like there was more of a community thing to it. And like in a way, I don't blame him for leaving for a lot of reasons. But I guess like he was just doing this for free. He's just some random dude, I think in Germany, who was like just would have to be up at all hours to like do this stuff. Wasn't getting paid anything to do it, and he was at like $400,000 eventually, or not followers. I meant rather, but he did set up a Patreon for himself, and I guess it was not as successful as he thought it was going to be. And I guess he did cite, he's like, Twitter leadership has been historically bad, and now it's only going to get worse. I'm not getting paid enough to do this. There's no point. So he locked his account. He didn't delete it because he didn't want anyone to steal his handle, but he locked his account. He said, I'm done.
Wow. So this is the first I've heard of that. That's putting your money where your mouth is. Like, yo, fuck this. I'm out. It's hard. A lot of people are like back a day later, but
Yeah.
Like how many times did Leah Dunham left Twitter like 48 fucking times in 2018? Remember that?
Chrissy Teigen, I always think of as like, I'm back, everyone. And then everyone's like, fuck you. And she's like, I'm gone again.
Now Mariah Carey's back. It's that time of year.
Oh, good. In time for Christmas.
On Twitter, dude, I saw that on fucking like midnight, October 31st, the Mariah Carey video where she's playing that fucking Christmas ballad of hers.
Yeah.
I can she just fuck off and go away? Like we know
that song. I didn't realize that. Maybe I saw this like a couple years ago or something like that. But that song has over 1 trillion plays on Spotify. Over 1 trillion. It is. I think it's just like one of the most popular songs of all time ever. I think it's blown everything else out of the water.
Credit where credit's due. It's a good song. It's not a bad Christmas song for a newer Christmas song. It ain't bad. It ain't no Bing Crosby. It's updated. It's contemporary is what I'm looking for. But yo, you don't come out so early trying to get fucking streams for that check that you're getting from Spotify. I just feel like she's getting greedy. I mean, Halloween isn't even over and she's fucking posting that.
I think we need to extend Halloween. I think that's because Halloween's like what? All Saints Day, and then there's All Souls Day, and then there's like whatever
Day
other
of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. Just group all that in there. We drag it out until
through November,
Thanksgiving, and then Thanksgiving happens.
To Black Friday. That'd be great. It's Black Friday even sounds like a horror thing.
Scary.
Yeah. I hate that. Christmas just invades on Halloween's. I hate that, and then I hate that everyone calls Halloween costumes fucking cosplay now. Has this happened in your
This just
circle?
happened last episode.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys talked about that too?
Someone left a voicemail
yeah.
saying, what's your Halloween cosplay going to be? And we were like, what the fuck? And now you're saying that this is a trend.
I've heard it from a girl at the Home Depot. I was shopping yesterday, and she stopped to tell me all about her Halloween cosplay instead of just ringing me up while I was trying to like give her my money. And I'm just like,
she's probably
your cosplay. Yeah,
she's probably like a professional cosplayer on the side or something. You know, she's at Home Depot for the check. You know, part time.
That must be it. That's it. God.
And then she's just used to it. It's like, oh, you dress up one day of the year. I do it all the time, and I make way more than Home Depot pays me. But my dad makes me work here, so
just to balance it out, I'm going to start calling cosplay costumes. Just to stick it. That's such an old man thing to do, though. Jesus.
Just going to Anime Expo. I love your costume. You know, just to see who that would piss off.
Yeah.
Kevin, that reminds me of the one time when we ventured to a furry convention and you kept asking to take pictures with the
mascots,
and they were like, "Dude, no, fuck off."
There was just one group that was particularly pushy about it, and I wanted to get a picture of them because it was not just a regular furry costume. They had S&M gear on and then a diaper over their S&M gear. So
they definitely did not want to be bothered. They did not want a photograph of themselves on your phone. Sorry to say.
You can't tell who they are.
They would want to promote that costume. Perhaps they made it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, tag him in it.
Kevin was trying to be a nice guy.
I was trying to fucking help, man. The last time I tried to do that. Hey, all y'all out there wearing diapers want a picture with me? Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Get lost.
It's the last time.
Get out of here.
Anyway, let's get... Grant, did you have any other stories you want to jump to here?
I don't know. There was this weird thing on Twitter. There's I feel like with the shifting landscape of the show, it's like, do we keep talking about Twitter? Because Twitter is in and of itself a shifting landscape. But there was this thread that was particularly interesting. And the person that started it has actually, I think, locked their account and taken it down. I'm going to do a little linksy sharesy in the chat over here so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But this discourse, this is Mr. Chow on Twitter, who I've followed for a while, said, "Don't think everyone has to be well, I won't read the tweet, but he screen capped the original tweet. This was on Halloween when most people are out dressing up in cosplay, making merry, eating candy. This Twitter user says, "It really doesn't sit right with me when people make fun of people who can't cook. It's not their fault that no one taught them, and learning any tiny skill as an adult can be really daunting, especially when cookery is such an overwhelmingly broad subject. They can't even boil an egg. That's not funny, ? It's shit they never had an opportunity to learn, and instead of providing them opportunity, you're just going to laugh at them. Oh my God, get a life." Which I will say, sometimes you're on the internet for so long and everyone's talking about different things, and sometimes you have your own thing and you're just like, I have an idea and I'm just gonna shoot it out there, see how the universe responds. Well, the universe didn't respond kindly to "I can't boil an egg" discourse.
I don't even know what to think about this shit anymore, man. It's like, obviously, like, you don't want to be ableist, but it's also like, is this person just like a fucking weirdo sociopath or something? Like, okay, if you have a disability, fine, but like, they're saying they never learned. If you're 30, you can still learn to boil an egg. It's not that hard.
Also, boiling an egg is the simple, like, it's literally, the directions are the name of the food. It's step 1, boil. Step 2, egg. That's it. You don't, you can overcook an egg. You can undercook an egg. It doesn't fucking matter. It's going to come out shaped like a golf ball anyway. It's not going to kill you. You can just eat a raw egg. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
The phrasing I love their excuse. Yeah.
The phrasing of any skill as an adult can be really daunting. we're all adults. Like, learning a new skill is not daunting.
That's part of
for
life.
Adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
harder when you're a kid.
Totally.
You have to learn an entire language without knowing any other language. You just have to go, I guess I'm
and you
speaking
don't even know
English
you're doing
now. Yeah.
Talk about daunting. If you're an adult and you don't want to, you learn to type, you learn to fucking read and write, and you're an adult who describes boiling an egg as daunting. Like, take a look around, you know? It just...
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff on Twitter very recently. There was like something else I saw today. I forget what it was, but it was something a very similar thing of like calling out something as being ableist. I don't remember what it was, but it was just as weird as this.
Yeah.
And I totally... go ahead, Garrett.
I just said, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, I definitely don't want to, be ableist. I don't know if I even understand that word, but I think I do. But yeah.
It's the thought that counts.
But like, just to tie it back to like the pro wrestling training and stuff, like Sean asked me here, like, why are you doing this? Like, what's the point? Like, what, dude, why are you getting dropped on your head? And like, what? But I told him at the time, I just thought this was some cool shit to say. But now I'm thinking like, wow, this is actually real. I told him like, dude, my life is so fucking comfortable and easy right now. I have to do something hard. I totally get
that.
Quit construction. Yeah. I'm just working with my friends making, film and internet projects and stuff all day, which is a blast, but it's like it's not physically daunting. I need to do something hard.
Right.
And like this kind of thing is like, do something that's challenging, like learn how to boil an egg. If that's the most challenging thing you do in your day, like you have to at least do that. At least.
I do think there is like also a level to that too, where it's like sometimes the most like challenging things can be the most rewarding things. Like the first time when I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to sign up for a marathon. And I hadn't done a marathon before.
Yeah.
I hadn't run more than like a 5K before. But it's like, I tell people sometimes where it's like, yeah, I ran a marathon, and people are like, oh, that must have really sucked. And I'm like, that was one of the most fun experiences of my life. And I can't describe it any better because it sounds like you're just putting yourself through torture for no other reason than to torture yourself, which kind of, yeah.
What's a personal goal?
Don't judge me, but also like there were like you think back to it and it's like this is like a fond memory that I have, and also with the internet lingo speak of this type of stuff. There is an aspect to it too where it's like. Obviously, there are people with challenges that we all don't face, and that I think that it's good to recognize that some people do have challenges that, like, are either physical or mental, and to appreciate that and to think of those people when we're talking about things. I 100% believe that. But also, like, if we're just talking, like, it's hard to do things. It's like, yeah, man, like getting out of bed is hard, but I do it because I don't have.
If mom doesn't let you use a stove when she's not home, it can be hard to boil an egg. We sympathize.
Right.
I like how Zwick posted in the chat here. It says adulting is so hard. I like how. But he's right. Like, how people would say that sort of like a quirky little thing. I don't want to adult today. Now you have people who are actually like using it to push an agenda, but they don't use the word. They're like I don't like I'll just call somebody out as like ableist. It's called I don't want to adult, but instead I'm going to make someone feel like a bigot because I don't want to boil an egg.
Right. And
what's
again,
next?
like,
They're going to make me make toast.
I sympathize with the idea that, like, also I've been feeling this a lot lately, and I think that to a large extent a lot of people feel this, is that, like, in this pandemic-ridden hellscape that we all exist in now, like, life has gotten tough, and like work and life has just been beating us down, and like to sit and like cook a meal sometimes is like more than I'm mentally capable of. However, like,
sometimes
that's not like a panacea of an excuse where you just lay it out and you're just like, hey, I got it figured out. It's ableist. It's like, no,
Well, it's like-
you don't want to do it, and that's fine. But like, we don't always have to. There's like a weird, almost like an appropriation of that term to like take that away from people who like. I think that in society, a lot of times, like we all can be very like ableist and stuff like that, and to take some of that terminology and to be like, I don't really want to learn a new skill is like, I don't know, insulting a little bit.
Like you said, like, I don't see anything here. And like this person, obviously, they don't have to divulge everything about their personal life. But maybe if they did have some like motor skills issue or something like that, sure, yeah,
right.
But I mean, whatever. I'm not going to go any further with this. I'm not going to speculate because yes, they can type into their phone, fine, but they can't. Whatever. Anyway,
they used speech to text to draft that tweet.
That could be.
Could be.
Though it would be a little more off, don't you think? A little more.
Yeah, Siri does get that wrong
broken
constantly.
Yeah,
it does just get to the point. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I just to fucking double back on Siri. This new update has. I talk to my phone all the time because I can't. As you guys found with me trying to get the show ready, I can't use technology when it's under the wire. So if I'm like texting a whole sentence, I always talk to my phone. They changed it to where the fucking button stays on now. When you're done talking, it doesn't stop recording you. So I'll draft something and then someone interrupts my talking to my phone because I do it all the time around here, and then I'll have a full conversation. She's logged a fucking sentence of everything I've said, and I'm like about to send this to like a job opportunity, like an entire conversation about fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Anyway, sorry. That's my little 5 minutes of hate for just a throwback season 1.
Good.
2 minutes?
Good.
Whatever.
We're still getting some flashes of that here and there. We haven't turned our back on the elements, but we've turned our back on the organization, I think, of the elements sort of thing.
The one thing people would praise us for, yeah.
The spirit lives on, but
well, sometimes, sort of like what you're talking about, Garrett, sometimes you need to do things that you're not comfortable with in order to feel like better. I feel like that's
to grow.
To grow. And I feel like there is an aspect of that with this show where it's like, we've done the same format for like almost 6 years now. Like we can do the show without going, okay, now we're talking about this. Now I want to talk about egg ableism on Twitter. It's just like we could talk about that, but we don't have to. I don't want to feel the need to be forced to. We're talking about all these important things that happen, in our lives. The Joe Rogan podcast, Backyard Wrestling, like. All these formative things that happen throughout our lives. And it's like, I don't want to have to shoot to commercial, That's what podcasting's all about. Yeah. You loosen up, you talk with your boys.
Freeform.
Exactly. It's like jazz, really.
It is. Oh, this is. Guys.
We're also like geniuses, like a jazz
Speaking
musician.
of freeform, though, Garrett, I have a question for you from an email here from David.
Okay, let her rip.
David writes, "Hey guys, figured I'd send out a question for the podcast. This looks like it's for you, Garrett. It says, how long have you been straight edge? Are you even edge? And what are your favorite edge bands?"
Okay. It's the oath that keeps me free, David. When I was real into hardcore music, this is about 1999, 98, 99. It was everything on Victory Records. I don't know if you guys were familiar with Victory Records, but they released.
They're in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I thought to bring it up. But I was obsessed. So it was like bands like Earth Crisis. When they came through to San Diego, I would like go see every time Earth Crisis came through. I'd see that was like the top. That was the big one. And they were like vegan straight edge. So all my friends at the time were being influenced into veganism, and I was like, "Yo,
wait, is that a higher level of straight edge?" Like is vegan
it's like there's tiers, like Ian McKay,
straight edge.
Ian McKay from Minor Threat, you don't know this, but on his Dead Journal, he posted like the tiers of straight edge back in the day. So like there's all these rankings, veganism is way up there. And then 7th level vegan right at the top. They don't even eat anything that casts a shadow.
This is like Jainism. Like it basically just evolves back into some form of like religiosity.
It is. It almost is like when you're a teen and you're so into your music scene, and part of your music scene is like these religious tenets of like no smoking, no drugs, no meat, like that. A lot of my friends were going the vegan way, and I was just like, yo, I need 160 grams of protein a day. I can't do the vegan thing. But but that was when I went straight edge, and like bands like Earth Crisis, Strife was a huge influence. I really like that band. All those Victory Records era bands. But yeah, I love that music still. But yeah, that's one thing I never talk about. People see my big ass chest tattoo, and that's when like
I was going to say,
oh fuck, homie, straight edge? That's fucking crazy. This guy's like CM Punk. No wonder he wants to start wrestling. I'm afraid of that. Actually, that's the thing. Like when is that weird? That's a concern of mine. If I start,
I don't think so.
If I start actually wrestling with my and people see me with my shirt off, they're gonna be like, "Who's this fucking CM Punk mark? Like, fuck this guy."
I think that and doing and like, I'll say wrestling is creative work to some extent. I think doing any kind of creative work, you're almost like you're influenced by stuff, but then you're like, oh, was that too obvious? Did that seep through a little bit too much?
It's just a coincidence. Like I didn't know what CM Punk was and didn't even like watch wrestling in 1998 or whatever. When I got tattooed, must have been like 2000. But it's it's something that definitely like I credit getting me to where I am here in life. Just not having to worry about like those vices.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta follow those. You gotta follow those paths sometimes. Sometimes you gotta do the opposite. I feel like I was like that for a long time, and I'm like. It's one of those things where it's like the past like couple years or so, it's like I've indulged in the devil's lettuce a little bit more, and then there's also a thing where you get a little too much of the reefer madness, and you're like, is this bleeding out into what I'm doing? Do people think that I'm like this all the time? Because I'm like, and then you get in your head and you're like, I'm not enjoying this because now I'm thinking about it all the time, and I need to stop.
That one's always.
I got water here. I'm drinking straight water.
That one's always in California. We call that they have California sober. Well, there's also California straight edge.
Gotcha.
That counts.
There's levels. Yeah. That's like a lower tier right now, I think.
Yeah,
I got to read up on the Dev Journal.
And
I remember when all my friends were going straight edge. There was always this like, like. You don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do drugs, and no sex. And it was like, wait,
I remember that too. Yeah.
Why are we throwing that in? I think there was some line in a Minor Threat song about like, I don't need to fuck, but it's like, yo, let's revise this to like, let's not have sex with promiscuous partners. Let's just keep it to, monogamous relationships. So that was kind of like, that's how we flowed.
Yeah. No, I forgot about that. See, I remember in high school, when people said they were straight edge, that it was always implied that they also were not fucking,
Yeah.
Which, of course, they shouldn't be at that time, but...
You know how genres spin off and there's like micro genres? So I was like, I was way into the San Diego hardcore scene. I would just go see these matinee hardcore shows like all the time. Little venue on UCSD's campus called the Shea Cafe. All of these other little spots around San Diego too. But there was a sect of the hardcore scene that was like Christian hardcore. This band Born Blind and like I remember all these other bands. They would play in like fucking church basements. And me and my buddies were just like in high school thirsty for another show. And we're like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I'm down with the Lord. Let's hit that fucking basement in the church. And we'd mosh around and it was the same music. It was just very like, it had a message. And maybe that's where like the no sex thing came from because those guys were real fucking.
Maybe.
The hardcore bands are weird though because it's not the type of thing I enjoy now. Seeing a musical act, there was a lot of stomping around preaching in between songs about how to live your fucking life, and it was like, yo, you're like 22 talking to like 17-year-olds. Like, I don't think you've got it that together, Mister.
That sounds like 4chan.
There is that.
We used to do it in the church basement. Now it's evolved.
Yeah. 4chan truly is the church basement of the internet. There is a level to that where I know a lot of people like to blame all the ills of the world on like religion. And it's like, we could just get rid of all religion and we would just invent it into a different thing. It'd just be music or it'd be food and everybody's like elitist about shit and there's levels to everything. And I think that there's good aspects to that, but then it becomes like very strangely hierarchical. And like you were saying, it's just like, then you start like swearing off things that aren't even like bad for you or like, you know, like, and then it's just like, why are we doing this in the first place? You know, can we become too purified? Yeah, exactly. What do you mean? What do you mean? I can't mix cotton and synthetics?
Oh yeah. That's a wild one too.
Yeah.
Some old school shit.
Speaking of some old school shit here, though, let's bring a bit back from season 1, our listener voicemails. Before we get to our final section of the show, we'll have some of that we'll play here in a second. But before we do, Garrett, you want to plug all your stuff, where we can find you, where we can find Mega64, the PPS?
Yeah, thank you guys again. I just want to take the time right now to thank you guys for having me back on again.
Thank you for coming on.
Anytime. But you can find all the Mega64 stuff at Mega64.com. All the merch drops there on our main website. And then you can find me on Twitter at Garrett Hunter. That's GarrettHunter. And I got an Instagram. It's all the same shit, though. Garrett Hunter 64 on Instagram. I would love if you tuned into the Poorly Played stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Twitch. That's, on our Mega64 podcast account on Twitch.
It's a great show. Can't abide. I've been on it before. Good times.
Yeah, I loved having you in when you would travel all the way out to California.
Yeah, it was great one of these days. Yeah, I'd like to get back.
You'd have a rental car, and you realize you kind of need a car in California.
Yeah. I mean, I have a car here too, but it's like you need one there.
Yeah, I feel bad because people want to come on the PPS and they're like, "Yo, I'm in LA for like, I'm not doing anything this day. Can I come down?" I'm like, "Yeah, totally." But it's like, "Did you rent a car?" "No, I'm gonna take the train." And then it's like, "Oh, bro, like that's you're in for a day's adventure. Like, get a car."
Yeah, and then Surfliner or whatever it is called.
Yeah, and I think it's expensive too. But some people are dedicated; they're devoted to come on. I think Charles was devoted. He came down on the Surfliner when he was on last.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I was down there I went to game days, and then I was hanging out with some friends in San Diego, and I was like, you know what? Let's make it happen.
It's fun. There's a lot to do in San Diego, but it is also spread out. If you do make a day of it, there's some cool sights and great Mexican food.
Yeah,
and I did make sure. World.
Yeah, I made sure to get a California burrito when I was there too. Did not regret that. So good.
So good.
You think it's going to be too much, but it's not.
It's not. It's never enough. I'm speaking of the fucking horrible relationship I have with food. I'm eating like a carne asada burrito a day, and I'm not even enjoying it at this point. It's just like, all right, same fucking time. I'm at that drive-thru again.
Well, was that different from? Yeah, was that different from before the regimen, or is that you're actually like working that in now?
I loved a carne asada burrito, but like not every day. And now I'm like, I need like to throw a fourth meal in here somewhere. So it's like the most convenient thing about California, and specifically Southern California, is like there's taco shops. The rule of thumb is if it ends in Bertos, like Adalbertos, Albertos, Rigobertos, if it ends in Bertos, it's a good spot. And they all have drive-thrus, and they're all 24 hours. So at any time, you can go get 50 grams of protein, Grant, if you're like, yo, I'm not going to make my quota for today. Like 5 minutes in any direction, there's a taco shop.
I was going to say, because when I was in like college, I was about 175 and same height. And so when I started working out, my number one thing was like, I'm just going to put on as much weight as possible. So I got up to 250 was my heaviest. Whoa. And then I'd like roll back down to like 200 or something like that. And then be like, time to get back up to 250. Yeah. And I do that back and forth. But if you really want to get tired of food, look up, there's a program by I think Jim Wendler, who wrote the 5-3-1 lifting program. He is sort of like a challenge program that's like a 6-week lifting like challenge program called Building the Monolith. And it's like a percentage based program where it's like, your 1 rep max for squat, deadlift, bench press, whatever. And then it's like you're doing percentage work with those. But then there's also like crazy things like 1 time a week you do like 100 chin ups in a single session sort of thing, which is just like brutal. But then like if you scroll to the bottom of the program, which you can find if you just Google it, but if you scroll to the bottom, he has like the dietary suggestions, and it's literally like breakfast is like 12 eggs, 4 pieces of toast, 8 pieces of bacon. Lunch is like just cook a pound of ground beef and just put some taco seasoning in it. Dinner is like a pound of ground beef with like some kind of pasta or whatever you want to do. 4th meal is like whatever, and it's just like this. So I did that for like 6 weeks one time, and I totally get like, this is why I haven't been dieting at all for like the past year or two, is because I did too much of that shit, and you just burn out after a while.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever do keto again. I did it for 3 months.
You also
never
don't
did it
need
before.
to. I think it's like an interesting thing to do like once or twice sort of thing. I would never suggest doing that long term.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never tried that. This is the first real like I got lucky genetically. Like my metabolism is so high. I've never been able to put weight on. Like I fucking barely have. I wear clothes from high school. I have fucking clothes from middle school that in the '90s. In the '90s, baggy shirts were in, and I was
that's
just
true.
like, yo, this Alien Workshop T-shirt fits me perfect in 2022. But yeah, like this is the first time I'm like doing a strict diet, which. It's weird saying the word diet because people think the other direction, but no, like I'm trying to do this for a specific purpose, trying to eat this way for a specific gain. But yeah, it's already like just 3 or 4 months in. I'm finding fatigue with chicken and broccoli.
Yeah, you got to switch it up every once in a while.
I'm going fish tonight.
Well, speaking of switching it up, let's listen to some listener voicemails here. If you want to give us a call, our number is 312-788-7361, or you can always send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com and hit it.
Hey, Grant, I wanted to ask you for the Thought Cops about whether you ever get confused with DJ Doug Pound, and then Kevin, that was Kevin, and then Grant, I wanted to ask whether he ever thinks he tries too hard to be cute. All right, Garrett, so you're on this, and you're doing a great job so far with music and everything. I wanted to leave a question for Thought Cops, but now I can't remember. Thought Cops or Good Cops? I guess that's what I'm going to say. Bye.
Thank you.
That was
okay.
Similar to the Discord calls I get. Yeah, there was a lot there. So Kevin, he started with you.
Yeah. Do
you
ever
get
confused for DJ Doug Pound is the question?
Never
Are you
once.
going
I know
around-
I'm happen to be wearing this shirt right now, but I don't think people see that and think I'm him.
You don't go around going, in the mix. It's not you?
Hey, listen, no, don't get me wrong. I consider it a compliment. Doug Lucenhop is a very handsome man, and he's a friend of the show. But I'd never had anyone ask me on the street, oh my, like, and he's from Chicago too. If it's going to happen anywhere, it would have happened here. And nobody's ever like stopped me in Wicker Park and been like, oh my God, are you DJ Doug
Can I get
Pound
an autograph?
Yeah.
You sign it anyway just because fuck them.
Can you sign this pork chop sandwiches?
Yeah. You remember those G.I. Joe videos? Just going way into the trivia with them.
You should start taking credit. Start wearing a yellow hoodie and hat combo.
Fuck it, I'll do that. Yeah, I might as well.
You probably could, yeah. Just start showing up at like random venues where you think that like the audiences would intersect, sort of. Just walk around dressed up like
those open mics would know. They would know.
Yeah, they'd be like, that guy's...
Can't fool them.
No. But Grant, what was the question? He asked what he asked you if you thought you got, or is he asking you about me or you?
It was if he tries too hard to be cute.
cute?
I don't try at all. Just happens natural, baby.
It's natural, yeah.
Is
he saying the hat's a good look?
Oh, maybe that was a question about the hat. I don't know.
Yeah, overall cuteness. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what Grant's to the gym. He's like, he's bulking up to get cute.
Yeah,
he's working on his kawaii-ness.
Yeah,
that's the final level that I need to achieve.
Yes,
and he said
levels
he
to
wanted
everything.
He wanted to leave a question for Garrett, but instead said that we are good cops, so thank you.
You can write down the things that you want to say in the voicemail before you leave them, but thanks for the voicemail. Not to rag on it, but
here's a pro tip.
It's just a tip. Yeah,
it was off the cuff.
Here's a pro tip: Google Docs.
Yeah,
start a Google Doc with every voicemail you want to leave us every week.
Speaking of voicemails, here's another one.
Hey, SWAT cops. My name's Jack. First-time caller, long-time listener. I know Grant from TikTok. I'm Jack B. Nimble 94. And I guess my question for you guys is, what out of all the fast food brands, which one tends to give you the worst diarrhea? For me, it's usually McDonald's. Can't wait to watch the next edition of the show. Love you guys, and peace out.
Oh, thank you. Tough fans from TikTok.
Peace out.
He is actually a way bigger following than I do, but he's also a Chicago person. He does like a radio show on like Chirp, Chicago Independent Radio. He would actually be a good guest to have on.
Yeah,
TBH,
I was going to say we should do that.
Yeah, get some people. It's always good to have some people on with some radio chops.
That's so cool. I would love to do some type of radio, like FM broadcast. That's awesome. Yeah. You should have him on. I would love that episode.
That'd be awesome.
It could happen. He lives in the city.
Let's get to the important stuff here. Which fast food restaurant gives you the most diarrhea? Okay,
I don't know if you guys have it out there, but I mean, I got my answer lined up, so I didn't even have to think about it.
Go ahead.
Taco Bell.
I was going to say that's everybody's go-to answer. Taco Bell.
I don't have that problem.
No, I was going to say, Grant. I don't get diarrhea that much.
I don't eat it that often, but when I do, it's like my body is not ready.
Are you like lactose intolerant or anything?
No, I'm drinking hella protein shakes with milk in them. No, nothing like that.
That's fair.
No, I do think I went to the International McDonald's recently. You know the one, Grant, by your old place?
Yeah. Hamburger University.
Yeah, that's actually what it says on the outside of the building for anybody who doesn't believe us. It says Hamburger University in big letters.
Actually, it's not really that funny of a joke because that's where all the McDonald's managers go for their training. So you saying Hamburger University with some Chicago snarky satire, little bit of bite on the end of it. It's not actually funny to make fun of it because that's where all the McDonald's managers train at. It's actually very prestigious to study at Hamburger University.
You know what he sounds like, Kevin?
What's that?
He sounds like one of those adults that couldn't get the boo bucket for Halloween because it was too limited. You missed out on the adult Happy Meal, and you're just butthurt.
No, I do want to say I was at the International McDonald's like a week or two ago, and I did see people with boo buckets. So that's a place to be. And they have a rotating menu of. They have a rotating menu of like different international items and stuff. Like I think they had something from Australia, something from China and stuff. And I don't know if it was the Australian onion rings or if it was the Chinese Kung Pao chicken sandwich or the mango McFlurry.
You're mixing too many cultures. That's what it is.
Of a mix. Yeah.
I think that's what happened, Grant. Yeah, I was too open-minded.
Your stomach turned into a melting pot, is what happened.
You had a world war.
Well, my toilet bowl did.
I don't know. I feel like fast food almost has the opposite problem with me, where it's like I don't really have like that bad of issues with fast food, but I feel like Wendy's is probably an answer. I feel like Wendy's always makes me fucking sick, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's one way or the other. You get diarrhea or you get constipated. You know, it's like you don't make in like 6 days, and you're like, where the hell did I eat? You know, what happened?
Wendy's epic clapback against your colon.
But yeah, it
But
really
they make
depends.
those cute anime. They make those cute anime avatars in their Twitter.
Right.
Oh, that was
you'll love it,
Arby's. Shit.
It was. Yeah, fucking. I forgot it. Arby's is another one that's probably like prone to give somebody like insane bowel movements.
Yeah, Arby's advertises so hard on like radio and there's like not one in all of San Diego. I don't know if there's one in California left.
Really?
I don't know where Arby's are. Yeah, like they all went out. Like we used to have them, and now Kevin went out.
Everyone's dropping this episode. What the fuck?
Arby's did it.
Probably.
Wait, did that drop for you guys too?
Garrett had just said something to Kevin before you dropped out, and I can't remember what.
Diarrhea, McDonald's.
I think we can. Yeah, we can.
Whatever.
Edit around it.
We can just move.
Yeah, because we got
to
a
the
few
next
more voicemails. We should wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another one.
Hey, it's Jimmy. I wanted to ask Garrett. He seemed particularly interested in Ruby Roundhouse and her dance fighting, and I was wondering if maybe Garrett could expand on why he's so excited about Ruby Roundhouse. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Was that
Jimmy? He said his name.
Jimmy. That was Jimmy. Okay. I think like once he's referring to the character in the Jumanji film with Jack Black and The Rock. And who's the third? I should learn the actress's name. Yeah, I think one time on a podcast I expressed that Ruby Roundhouse was a very fun character to watch on screen as she dance fights during a scene to defeat some of her enemies. Not bad flicks for the whole family friendly, kind of genre.
Is that the
there's
woman
something
that was on
for
like Doctor Who? Is she red haired?
I don't know anything else she's ever done. I've just only seen her in those two Jumanji movies, and I was like, I wouldn't mind watching her. I forgot that there were
two of those movies.
Yeah.
Well, the original and the remake, right?
No. We're just talking about the remake franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, there's two? What the fuck?
Karen Gillan, I think.
Aaron Gillan on Karen. Okay.
Yeah.
Not a popular first name.
Yeah.
But I'll let that pass. Yeah, I mean, what's not to... I mean, you saw it for yourself there, Grant. You wouldn't want to watch her dance fight on screen?
I don't want to watch those movies at all, no. Sorry to say.
Next question.
Next voicemail, please.
Next voicemail here. Let's hope we can hear this one.
Okay.
That only Garrett is going to think it's funny. That like 8 or 9 years ago, I had an acquaintance who was living in Southern California. And outside her apartment, she saw like some guy screaming in the street, having an altercation with cops, like, this guy was cracked out of his mind, typical big city things. And then she learned later on the news that messed out crackhead was actually Peter Murphy of Bauhaus fame.
Oh.
And it just makes you sad that he can't lay off the crack pipe, because otherwise I would have gotten to see them this year. So sad. Mm-hmm. It's also very sad because I'm pretty sure he's Muslim, and I don't think meth is halal, but I could be wrong.
He's Muslim?
About that.
Is that what she said?
So I think she thinks... Is that Nico on the voicemail?
Yeah.
Of course.
I missed the very beginning.
Silence for like the first 10 seconds. Yeah.
I didn't get the name, but I assumed, and I'm so happy that I got to hear your lovely voice again, Nico. And that is very interesting. I have heard of Peter Murphy, lead singer of Bauhaus, kind of credited for kind of like, shaping this goth music scene, with his art house, friends, and him made this band. But he has a bit of a drug habit. And it is unfortunately meth, which is like weird. I don't know why that's weird.
To go for.
Well, but you think of like a dude that looks like a kind of like a sad old queen in leather, like he stayed too long at the goth club, and it's like,
yeah,
bro. But meth, I don't know. It kind of makes sense actually now that I'm thinking this through, that meth is the drug of choice. But Yeah, I was at a Bauhaus show, like the first time I saw him, they didn't go on for 45 minutes, and I saw him through the curtain of the backstage, like screaming and fucking yelling and tantruming, and it was just like, whoa. And then they didn't play for 45 minutes. And then the next time I had tickets, it got canceled because he got arrested for meth in a different state of, they had to cancel like the last couple dates of that tour. And I don't know. And here he is out in SoCal, getting in a fight out in the street. That might have been the time he got arrested. In fact, I think the story comes full circle.
Damn.
Not as fun as they make it look on TV, meth.
Yeah. Check out, check out all the other guys. They left Peter and they went and did Love and Rockets. And, that stuff's great. Check that out.
Oh, I didn't know that was the other people from that.
Yeah, like David J. and the other musicians. They all went to the same, it's like, it reminds me of the story of like Guar. Like they all went to like a art college, and then they were like, let's do this like video project, like avant-garde art thing that turned into like a whole fucking music genre.
Yeah, that's a fun band to see live, Guar.
Yeah, I've never done it. I've wished. I saw them someone gave me.
I saw them at Riot Fest in like 2016, I think, and they were. They had people come out there dressed as Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and they just started like stabbing each other and just spraying like pink blood all over the audience.
Yeah. See, now that is forward thinking.
What a crazy reality we live in, where I feel like almost nostalgic about that point in time, where I'm like,
I know,
remember
right?
when it was like, they were sort of at each other, and then it's like now we're living in like the remnants of that and the logical conclusion of what happened after that. And I'm like, I would give anything to just go back to that.
I would give anything to go back to Marvel Phase 2, but now here we are in Marvel Phase 4, and it's just all gone to pot.
It's a mess, I guess.
Hey, at least we got Sleepy Joe out of it all.
Thank God. We got one more voicemail here.
Oh, lovely.
Good morning, Thought Cops. Son of MHack here. If you can believe it, it's a Friday once again. I've got 2 minutes of hate here for job interviews. I resigned from my last job, and my partner's coworker said his partner was looking to hire for a position that's been vacant for a year with no applicants. I go through the process, and in the interview I thought I did really good. The manager interviewing me seemed to like me as well. Then I get the call back, and I'm told they're going a different route. Oh, but apply for a part-time position. So what? A warm body is a worse alternative to avoid in the company? But I'm not sweating it. Just hated having my time wasted after being courted by these people. Have a great day.
It's legit.
Wasting time. Good to hear you, son of MHack. Wasting time to me is like having your time wasted, I should say, is like the worst offense you can. Like hearing your parking ticket story, back. Kevin.
Oh yeah.
The money, the financial, disposition you're put in is like one thing, and that's fucking outrageous. Right. But the time, I've learned at this point where I'm at, it's like, that's the most valuable asset.
Honestly, I was way more upset I couldn't have I wanted to go on a walk on my lunch break, and I'm like, I can't even fucking do that. And I less about the hold. Money. Like the money, it sucked to pay that, but then it was like sitting on hold and waiting and thinking about like what I was supposed to be relaxing on my lunch break for the fucking 30 minutes or whatever I get. And it just like, I now have to spend it on hold with a fucking rude employee of the city.
And then you don't know how much longer you're going to have to do that for. Like, what if that was just days and days and like every lunch break you have to, That's
my fucking life now, man. It's just all this stuff like that. And I just have a list of like time-consuming tasks that I put off until it's too late.
That's the only resource that matters at all. Like, food, water, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But like money is just like all we use in global capitalism. All we use money for is to just buy the time back. And there's some people that get so sucked into the money aspect and forget that with the money that they're just trying to buy back that time, that they just go for full money. And then they get to the end of their lives and they're like Scrooge McDuck. just fucking looking. He wasted all the time, and it's just like, because you got too into it. You bought yachts, you bought planes, you bought starships, and you bought fucking Twitter. And Twitter isn't going to make you happy, and it's not going to make people like you. You know, you take the money, and you know what you do with it? You buy time. That's the most valuable resource, and people just squander it.
I hope MHAC finds gainful employment soon.
Right.
And I hope no one wastes any more of his time. Being on hold, I think, is there like a term like for, because I get like road rage when I'm on hold, or not even on hold, but on the phone with customer service.
I've worked customer service jobs like a lot in like my time, so I have like an empathy for it, but it's also like I can spot when like they just do not give a fuck, and that's when I'm kind of like, all right, I'm gonna level with you here. I used to do this, and you are being a little fucker right now.
I know your game. Transfer me. No, you won't transfer me. Hello.
But that being said, it's more like I don't get like road rage. I just feel like my soul just gets like sucked out of my body, and I'm just sort of like disassociating until I can hang up.
I turn red and I boil over, and then I calmly ponder, and I think like I can see how being on the phone with a call center can make a person racist. I have that thought. I don't myself commit to any thoughts, but I just see, I'm like, there's a guy in Texas who has to do this, and this is why he gets on 4chan at night and writes about, who knows what he writes about.
It's a steady pipeline. But that being said, if that inspired you, give us a call, 312-788-7361, or send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, give us a few bucks a month. Head on over to patreon.com/thoughtcops, because every little bit goes a long way. And you can hang out in the live episode chats, get access to our bonus episodes of Fire Bros, which we're recording one very soon, so keep an eye out for that. I want to give a thank you to one of our patrons who actually also he upped his pledge this week from up to $5 a month. So now he's in the live chats. Super Coconut, thank you. Patreon.com/thoughtcops. Garrett, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Happy to start to kick off Thought Cop Season 2 with you.
I was a delight to be here with you guys. I'm glad we got to chat, and I do like the free format.
Thank you.
I hope I was just a little more easy to deal with than your last guest. If anything, just a little.
I think a lot,
not as difficult.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
mission accomplished.
Like by just huge margins.
Hey, Graham, what was my sign off last week? Well, I'm going to see you on the other side. I don't remember.
I don't know. That's weird.
It was I'll see you guys on the other side.
That's it. That's what we're going with.
I don't know. It sounded cooler last week, but I'm just going to go with it for now.
This is the opposite. This is full circle in terms of like I don't know how to do the beginning part. I got the end down. You just say bye and you fuck off and you hit the camera off button. But saying hello is like, hey, Grant, what's going on? And I go, I don't want to answer that. I will go to any length not to answer that.
Well, that being said, I'm going to say, see you guys on the other side.
See you, Space Cop.